Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show with local celebrity hosts Steve-O and Renee. Sit back each week while Steve-O and Renee educate you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O and Renee with today's expert in their field.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Eat and Critique. I almost said Eat and Critique.
You just did.
I did.
Oh, Lord. Nope.
Wow.
Wrong show, buddy.
I can't believe I did that.
Now, that's funny.
Listen, the radio's
Listen,
on.
you deserve it. You would not go home
apologize.
for my earrings. That's all I'm going to say. Even Mike's shaking his head.
Too
Run,
many-
Ask the Experts. Ask the Expert Show.
Too many shows.
That should never
Not
be a
enough
problem.
time.
That's never
Renee,
a problem.
I'm 93 years old.
Well, that we know. Finally, you admitted it. I'm only 27.
This is the Ask the Expert show at
Ay,
our
Dios mío.
favorite radio station, WWNN 1470 AM. See, I got that right. I'm here with my beautiful co-host. Got that right.
Do you remember my name?
No, but she sure is beautiful, though.
Not without my earrings, but go ahead.
Hey, we've got two great guests on today.
We do.
Yes, and we will be interviewing in some of the areas today are all home improvement. I love doing home improvement shows. Our first show is a mold removal and water damage restoration. If you haven't looked outside lately about all the rain we've been getting for the last 2 weeks, I mean, floods. I know what he does. I know what Mike does. He's out there praying to the rain gods. Rain,
He's
baby.
doing rain dances, right,
Hurricane,
Mike?
baby. Anyway, the second half of our show, we have one of the top roofing specialists, so you don't get screwed around by these guys who come up to your door with a card. We have it all today. If you'd like to watch today's show, what do we do?
You go to usmold.com.
www.
There we are, right on.
You don't like doing www.
No, I don't do. I think most people know to type in
You think so?
www.
They
They
Yes.
should know by now.
Yes, don't you
Yeah.
think? Too many
Anyway, you can
W's.
watch the show live
Yes,
on Mike's website
US
today.
Mold's website. And if you have a question about water damage restoration or mold and mildew removal, you can call us at 888-565-1470.
You know what? Today's going to be fun because Mike's been on our show.
He's a great guest. So
No,
why don't you
he is.
introduce him?
Mike Fidel, the owner of US Mold, and Mike, you cover, I know all Martin County, you cover all of Palm Beach County.
Well, can I say welcome to the show, Mike? Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks, Renee. So glad to be here and see you
It's
guys
nice to
again.
have you here
Did you miss
again.
me? It's been like a couple weeks since I've
Absolutely.
been
He's a
here.
fun guest, yes.
You know what? We got so
I'm a
many
fun
emails
guy.
last
Yes.
It's my
night.
business. So we say in the industry, there's fungus among us.
I love that
that.
terminology. I love that. That's
and
great.
we got emails last time saying, what a great show that was.
Yes.
They all like Mike. So what is going on at US Mold?
We have a lot of exciting things happening right now.
Tell
in the
us.
last couple weeks, well, actually the last year, we've been developing a package to sell U.S. Mold dealerships.
Which is what?
The handymen, air conditioning guys, roofers, anybody who is out in the field that already has a clientele established, we're going to train them to become mold remediators.
Very cool.
Wow, instant staff.
Yeah, we're going to license them, train them, and let them use our name as a dealership versus a franchise. Excuse me. We're going to set them up.
But they basically they still work for your company.
They'll be their own. They'll be
Oh,
independent
interesting.
contractor,
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be independent contractors, but they're already out in the field. They're already doing AC, and they find what happens when you find a leaky AC? You find
By
mold.
mold,
When
absolutely.
you have a leaky roof, you find mold.
How about when you have a leaky Gulfstream?
If you have a leaky Gulfstream,
Which you just found, we were just discussing,
found,
yes.
Yeah, we just did a prominent, pretty famous golfer's jet. And it was actually a pretty cool plane. I've never done an aircraft before. It was the first time we did an
I thought those
aircraft.
guys took the Greyhound bus.
Yeah.
When they went from city to city.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he takes a $40 million Greyhound. Is what he takes. This baby was sweet, but they had a little water. They had water damage. They didn't take care of it right away. And 25, 30 yards away, when they opened up the rear compartment door and the steps that come down, reeked of mold.
Wow.
And they tested it, it came back elevated. We went in, did our treatment, and the very next day it was gone. And they were
So
ecstatic.
it's that quick. The process could be that quick.
Well,
That's only if you use U.S. mold.
U.S. mold.
Right, exactly.
You know, we
I'm with
are
you.
good at what we do. We got the state-of-the-art chemical that kills mold, bacteria, odors.
And that could be toxic.
This was toxic mold.
This was, okay.
This was. Stachybotrys is a red flag. That's the black toxic carcinogen mold. When you ever hear the word stacky, that's when you got to take.
So you didn't find bodies in the plane?
No bodies.
Thank
nobody,
God.
nobody was in there.
Nobody.
They had a great snack bar, though. Lots
Oh,
of
they
good
did?
snacks.
I
yeah.
would not eat the snacks.
But this new package you used to certify people,
Yes.
and now you're kind of getting back into it again.
Yeah, we're going to start training them.
What a great
and selling
idea.
dealerships, and then they'll be able to use the U.S. mold name, which is synonymous with mold, and we've been around for 15 years.
So this will be another revenue stream for them.
Another revenue stream for them,
And for him.
and for us to
Yes.
get our name out there, and to show people that what we do versus our competitors, because we're done in 3 days with almost every job we do. And I hear nightmare stories.
Me too. And I've seen, like, even on TV shows, remember we were watching a show and they were trying to move into a house and they said there's mold and it
Oh,
took,
yes.
it's going to be a couple of months before you can move in. I mean, they went in with hazmat suits.
Yeah, well, we do too, but we
So
have
I
it
guess
down
that
to a
goes in-
science.
If it goes into the sheetrock, probably, then they have to rip out the sheetrock.
We do that. We just, we've done, God, since I've seen you guys, we've done like 10, 12 remediation jobs. And plus the jet.
Good for you. That's
And when
wonderful.
I first met Mike, he was doing a big clinic
Yeah, we did a laboratory clinic.
over there in, I think it was in Westland or somewhere. It was over there by, I think Cleveland Clinic.
Weston.
Weston.
Westland. Never heard of that area.
He's tongue-tied today.
I see
Got
that.
him on the wrong
Mike,
show.
it's because of my earrings. Do you understand that?
I'm sure you let him have it all the way here, huh?
You think?
Anyway, so you do water damage restoration as well, and
Yes, we
people
do.
have to be aware right now, especially with hurricane season, all the rain. I'm sure you're seeing a lot of water damage.
Yeah, we've done the biggest job we did since I seen you guys last is we had a 10-story condo that flooded on the 5th floor.
Oh,
So 501, 401, 301,
Right.
all the way down to the lobby. Needless to say, for us was good because all of our equipment was out and working, and we had to treat each individual condo, extract the water, put the blowers in, put the dehumidifiers in,
Right.
mildicide it.
you had to have a lot of equipment for that.
We do. We have. We got quite a few. All our equipment is state of the art too. It's all dry ease, and they're like the best. They just last forever.
How much equipment does it take? I mean, one of the things I wanted to ask you about today, how do you know how much equipment each job needs?
Depending on how much water there is and how many rooms there are. Let's say it's in a room that's 20 square feet. Say 30 by 30. What we do is called a vortex system. So we put a couple dehumidifiers in the middle of the room, and then we line up the perimeter of the room with fans all going in the same way, and it creates this vortex, which is
dry everything out.
moving air, drying it out.
And if
That's
you
the
don't do
first
it
day.
immediately, then you end up getting mold.
Yeah, but
So you're
everything
back again.
Yeah, so everything you do for a flood is to prevent mold from coming.
Right.
Dry it out right away. The second day you go in, you remove the baseboards. It's very important to remove the baseboards, and then you cut 2 feet. Every 2 feet, you cut a hole, so you get air circulating into the wall cavities to make sure you dry it out.
Oh, 'cause
Right.
it could really smell bad in there. Oh my gosh.
Well, give your phone number out so this way when people, they don't have to scurry around. If, God forbid, they have water damage, they can have your phone number handy to call you.
Because you never expect it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah. Well, the industry standards say that every home in the United States is going to experience at least one flood. At least one flood.
Wow.
I've
in
had
the
it. I've
history.
had it in my home.
We've gone to a house that's
I've
had
had the
4 floods.
I've had
Poor
the pots
people.
down the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's usmold.com, 561-748-2223.
Okay, do this again because, listen, you never expect this to happen. But when you do, and you start Googling.
And you say, who should I call?
Who should I call?
And I don't want to
Mold.
just, that's exactly
Yellow
it.
pages.
There's fungus among us.
I love
That'll you remember us.
And you
We
don't
have
want the
best, though.
fungus.
We have the best.
Yes, we are the best. We're good at what we do. Dry out is not really rocket science, but if you don't do it correctly, if you don't service every day and go back and check and reposition your equipment, you're not going to give your client a proper dry out.
So do you use a certain type of drying equipment?
Yeah, we use commercial blowers, fans, dehumidifiers, and HEPA air scrubbers, which is a high efficiency particulate air filter that scrubs and cleans the air in case there's any bacteria or mold that's in the air.
Do you have specialty extraction vacuums type of thing?
Just big flood suckers, we call them. Watch how you say that.
I'm not saying it.
I learned that there's a phrase called clean water loss.
That's right.
And so when you're involved with clean water wash, what's wrong with my mouth
You are
today?
tongue-tied today.
Wow. Does this...
Payback, baby.
Earrings. Earrings.
I heard about earrings all the way in.
See what happens?
And when you're in the car and they look out the window the opposite way, you so know you're in trouble.
Yeah. Turn the radio up loud.
I did that.
Yeah, you did.
I'm good at doing that.
So you use the best equipment, which is important because I think some of these people out there go rent equipment at the grocery store when they have a flood. I mean, what I'm saying, you've got to have someone who knows what they're doing because you can really screw it up trying to save a little money.
Well, he just said you need air movers and dehumidifiers, right?
Yes.
So what type of... Do you use those as well? The dehumidifiers?
The Dry Ease is a manufacturer. They're one of the biggest in the country, and that's all I have. I have all Dry Ease equipment. State of the art, looks pretty, it's nice and blue, and when we roll up on a job, we don't roll off with rusty equipment. We roll off with state of the art.
Right, you go in there, do
commercial-grade
the
stuff.
job, and get out.
Yeah.
How do you know this? I hope this is not a stupid question. How do you know when the carpet and the pad are adequately dried? It's not just by the feel of it. How do you know when it's actually dried?
First thing you do is you extract the water if the carpet's wet, and the second thing you do is get the padding out immediately.
So you actually have to lift the
Rip
carpeting
it
up?
out. Just get rid of the pad because it stinks. That's what stinks, and that's what a bacteria.
So you have to have a carpet company come in afterwards. They do.
Well, yeah, they do.
Right.
And then replace the padding. But if the carpet is too bad, you remove them to replace the carpet. Carpet's cheap today.
Right.
Most people are worried about their kids, their dogs, bacteria odors and stuff like that. If it's been wet for quite a while, you just remove the carpet and padding.
Because the stench still stays in there. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they bring. You have what is it? Like air things that freshen
And
the
meters
air.
that...
We have a chemical. It's an antimicrobial chemical that kills mold, bacteria, and odors. It's state of the art. We're the only ones in South Florida using it. And like I told you about that jet we did, it reeked of mold. I mean, it was coming out. They had a couple of vents on each side of the plane, and it was coming out the vents. And the next day when we went back there, after we did our fog application, the smell was gone. The pilots could not believe it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That really is.
I got an email that someone asked me to read on air. I got to read this. It says, "What type of documentation do you give the property owner to prove to them you have a dried structure, that it was done properly?" Does that make any sense?
Yeah, we do a daily log of relative humidity count, moisture readings, and at the end of the flood, we give that to the client so he can give it to their insurance company that says that the place is dried out. It's got
So you do give
documentation.
them some kind of documentation.
Yeah, and we take
And the
thermal
insur-
imaging cameras with a thermal imaging camera that's document moisture today, day 1 of the flood, day 2 of the flood, day 3 of the flood. Everything's documented. So they can go to their insurance company and say, this is what U.S. Mold did. They got all the ammo they need to collect their money from the insurance company.
And the insurance company does... They usually
They're
cover
pretty
floods.
good with floods. Emergency water damage you won't have a problem with.
I know when I had homeowners insurance, they made you take additional flood insurance as well.
If you're in a flood area.
Flood zone.
A
If you're
flood
considered a
zone.
flood
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah.
I think all of Florida is a flood zone. It really is.
Well, it's pretty flat.
Yeah.
I live on a hill. All my neighbors get wet.
That's the problem. I have to build on a hill.
You know what? It's time. We've got to go to break.
Okay.
And
I was just getting warmed up. What are you doing?
well, hey, stay warmed up, okay?
That's right.
When we come back, we're going to start getting into mold removal because there is so much information, and plus a lot of the snowbirds are coming back now.
Coming back.
And they might be surprised when they come back that left their
Hurricane
air conditioning
shows
on
up,
like
yeah.
80
80.
degrees, right?
But that's what the people do.
Yeah, but they can't be doing that anymore.
Well, we'll discuss that after the break.
We'll be right back.
U.S. Mold are the area's mold and water damage experts, dedicated to removing and preventing further dangers of mold. It's important to keep your family and pets safe from the effects of mold building up in your home, and mold in your workplace is another point of concern. Damp areas, water leaks, excessive coughing, mildew, and musty odors are all signs of possible mold infestation. Don't delay. Call the professionals at U.S. Mold and rest easy knowing that your indoor air will be fit to breathe again. U.S. Mold offers the most comprehensive mold inspection, mold testing, mold removal, odor removal, and flood damage restoration services in South Florida, serving the Palm Beaches, Boca Raton, Delray Beach, Jupiter, Stewart, and surrounding areas. U.S. Mold has the knowledge and experience to effectively restore the indoor air quality of any size building, and they do so in an efficient, professional, and friendly way. Call U.S. Mold today at 561-748-2223 or visit them online at usmold.com.
And we're back. I'm going to get the right station this time, the right show. Ask the Experts.
I'm a little nervous.
If you've tuned in for the first time, Ask the Experts. We have experts on every week, and we deal in legal, financial, home improvement, like we're doing today.
Today is all about home
And
improvement,
health.
and we have the top mold and mildew remediation company and water damage restoration, Mike Fidel
The owner. We have the
from
big
US.
owner.
Yes, from U.S. Mold.
Big. That camera don't lie.
Listen, I feel like I'm looking at bookends between the two of you. I don't know which one's Steve out.
So now, you're hiring some new staff now?
We have some new staff. I have the Gonzalez sisters.
Oh, I thought you were going to say his ex-wife. And
St. Louis,
her
Missouri,
sister.
and O'Fallon, Illinois. There's Liliana, Lourdes, and Scarlett.
Very cool.
I
And
bet
what are
you.
they
They're
in
my
charge of?
granddaughters. So
Oh,
they wanted
I
their names
love
mentioned, so
it.
I got to mention them.
Are
That's
they in
very
St.
sweet.
Louis?
They're in O'Fallon, Illinois. My son-in-law's in the Air Force. And
God,
he's,
they could
very
be watching
cool.
the show right now.
they're going to watch it.
and see Dad.
Because they're going to freak out because I told them I was going to mention their names on the air.
Oh, I love
Good
it.
for you. What else is going on? Oh, you know what? What kind of houses do you work on?
Dog house, cat house, outhouse, your mama's house, your sister's house, a firehouse, a schoolhouse, police house, cars, dealerships, motorhomes,
Gulfstreams?
Gulfstream jets, yachts. We've done a lot of yachts. We have a marine division, usmoldmarine.com.
Storage units?
Storage units we've done
Yeah.
as well.
I wasn't
Garages.
joking.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Okay.
I was set up for that. That was a complete setup.
I love it.
No, you know what, though? Mike does. He doesn't just do houses. He does some very big houses.
And it's not just residential you do commercial as well, isn't that
Done a lot of
correct?
commercial jobs, the car dealerships. We did that lab that you talked about earlier. We've done. Geez, I could go on.
Everything.
Yeah, I could go on forever. But the thing of it is, when you do mold remediation, it's the same protocol for basically every job.
Right.
You know, you want to get rid of the administrative control. You want to make sure there's nobody there when you're working. So just like a home, we ask the tenants to be out for 3 days. If it's a bigger job, then we ask them to be out longer. We don't want anything in our way when we're doing our work. People are a hazard when you're on a construction site,
Yes.
and they're all nosy. And they want to
So
get
basically,
theirs.
if you have bad mold, and there's different types of mold also.
Correct.
So if you see something that's toxic, people have to move out for a certain period of time.
Yeah, even if it's not toxic, it could be just, like there's Aspergillus penicillium, which is a common mold in Florida with wet building material. It's almost on every job that we do.
What does that look like for people to spot that?
It can be white, fuzzy. I mean, there's 100,000 different types of mold, and unless you're in
I thought he was talking about me.
unless you're an industrial hygienist and you have a degree in microbiology, you can't. I don't really think you can look at mold and say that's what it is.
Unless it's like that black
The black
mold.
stuff is.
I mean, that's very visible.
Yeah, that's
Right.
and it's the odor is brutal. It smells like bad bread, yeast, nasty feet.
Let's scare
That's
people,
horrible.
because if they don't take care of this, let's tell them the downside. If they don't take care, if they have mold in their house and they just try to blow it off, what are some of the things that happen to people?
I'll tell you one of the things that happened to me since I seen you guys last. I got a call from a client, went out to his house, his dishwasher had been leaking. he put a fan on it. And underneath his kitchen counter, when he pulled the dishwasher out, it was loaded with mold. He put a fan on it. He spread mold all over his house.
What was he trying to do with the fan, though?
Dry it out.
He didn't know any better. And then he asked me, he says, did I do any damage? I go, yeah, you cross-contaminated your entire house.
So wait a second. I have a question for you, because I had a leak under my sink, and it took a couple of weeks for them to come and change the whatchamacallit, in the sink, the trash compactor.
Change the
Garbage disposal, exactly.
It's easy for you to say.
Anyway, so I put a towel under there, but I see on the wood, like a discoloration. Could that possibly be mold?
It could possibly be mold, or it could be just a watered stain. You know, unless it's discolored and there's different colors, and mold is usually in a circular formation.
How long?
Forms in a circular.
I'm just saying, how long does it take for mold to come to be?
24 to 48 hours.
I think I have mold.
She's germophobic. Oh, no.
Here, let me give you a
I got
card.
the earrings off of mine now.
I got your phone number.
USmold.com.
I know your website.
561
I know where you live.
748
Perfect.
Let's talk about the snowbirds who, when they go back home, what do you see a lot of them doing with, especially with the air conditioning?
Biggest problem with the snowbirds is they put the hurricane shutters up, they jack up the AC to it's like 78 or 80, and then this year is going to be brutal because of all the rain we've had.
Yes.
A lot of humidity. And then what happens is they walk inside their condo, it's completely dark, and they go, what is that smell? And it's on everything. And one thing that you notice when you do jobs like that, especially in the condos or anywhere, is mold loves black. It loves black shoes. It loves black leather.
It does?
Oh, yeah. You could have a pair of white shoes in the closet next to a
it'll go
pair
to
of
the
black
black?
shoes. Right on the black shoes.
Hi, Mike, everything in my closet's black.
Well, you better keep that place cool.
Wow.
I never knew that.
Now,
Yeah.
are there people who hire other mold companies that aren't certified? Have you heard of that in the industry?
They used to be like that back when Genie, Francis, that was like 10 years ago, right? Almost to the date 10 years ago. Now we have industry standards. You have to be state licensed by the state of Florida to be a mold assessor and a state license to be a mold remediator. One company has to do the assessment and another write the protocol, and then another company has to do the removal. That's our specialty. I'm state licensed to do both. I did an inspection this
And you
week.
can certify others, so
I can certify you,
This
but
is like a
I
teacher.
can't license you.
Okay.
Right.
But I can train you to do things the U.S. mold way, and when you're done, you'll be trained better than anybody else out there in the field. And this is a big business. This is a big industry.
especially
Yes.
down here.
And in South Florida, you know, all of Florida. This is the mold.
Right.
That's in California, you know. But so that's why we're excited about this new package that we're putting together for handymen, roofers, AC guys who want to expand their business and add a new venue to their operation for more income, is to become a mold remediator.
So they can contact you.
They can
If they're
contact
interested in
us,
doing this with you.
usmold.com or 561-748-2223. I'm going to beat it to death, baby.
And you are also you also, I mean, we discussed this before, but you do Martin County, Broward.
Siri.
His GPS. Mike, are you lost?
Someone's already called him already.
That's
Told you our
crazy.
station's great. We have a lot of listeners. It's all this
That sound
rain.
like that GPS lady.
It was series.
Oh,
my
God.
Anyway.
Nothing like live radio. That's all I'm going to say.
The Gulf Stream needs some more work before we take off.
He took care of that already.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if Mike's there, he takes care of it. It doesn't have to go back.
You know, that's what I love about our show. I mean, you don't have to go try to find the best. We've already done that for you.
You guys do a good job here.
And I'm going to tell you something. If you never know when this is going to happen to you. No one's ever plans to have mold or water damage.
What are you talking about? I'm going to check my closet when I get home. And under my sink.
But
Mike, give me a card, Mike.
No, but write Mike's number down now, because you might not need him today, you might not need him next week, but you never. Hey, this is hurricane season.
Everybody has, at some point, had mold or a leak in their house.
Exactly.
I don't want to scare people too, because
Go ahead.
I'm not an alarmist. I'm
Yeah,
not a
but this
red
is a
flag
health
person.
issue, though.
Yes,
too.
But
it
it
is.
can be a health issue if you have low immune system, if you have compromised health, diabetes, HIV, high blood pressure,
Asthma.
Allergies, everybody's different, and everybody has different susceptibility. That isn't even a word.
See?
Is it? See, you're
Payback.
rubbing
He's
off.
rubbing off. Sit next to me, Mike, next time.
Everybody reacts different to mold. We all have a different immune compromised health. Boy, I really messed that one up. Everybody reacts different to mold.
Yes.
Period.
And some people don't react at all.
And some people, it doesn't bother them.
How many different types of molds are there?
There's 100,000 different types. And it's just a matter of what it is, if it's elevated or not. The American Industrial Hygiene Association says anything 1,000 spores per cubic meter or higher is considered elevated. So whenever you have somebody come out and do a mold assessment and test, you always want them to do a control sample, which will be an outside test. You want to test and compare your outside to your inside count.
Do you charge for an assessment?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that you check the outside. Because what does mold take to grow?
That's the standard in the industry, because what you have outside versus what you have inside, it could be different or it could be the same. So all you're doing is whenever you open up the door in Florida, you bring mold inside. So if it's the exact same count and it's the exact same types of mold, then you don't really have anything going on inside your house. But if you have a different types of mold inside your house versus outside, and the count is higher, then you definitely got something going on. So it just gives you legal documentation from an accredited lab stating the fact that you do have elevated mold, and these are the types of it. And then also with the lab that we use, EMSL, they give you a list of the health effects to it.
Wow.
But they don't go outside their boundaries. There's some labs that'll tell you that it's elevated, and they shouldn't do that. I disagree with some labs that say it's elevated because they're not there. They're just reading it. They look at it through a microscope like a microbiologist would, and they just say, yeah, these are the counts. That's all they should give you. And you, as a mold assessor, should interpret it to your client from your experience.
So what makes that determination about remediating and getting rid of the mold then?
From the mold assessment inspection that they do, they write the protocol, they hand it to us, then we give them a proposal to do the work.
We're coming. I can't believe how fast this show goes by.
That's because you had so
I'm
much
gonna
fun
ask
with me,
you,
huh?
Yeah, we do. I want to ask you one more question. I'm going to let you answer this. Why should I choose your company over Betty's Fashion and Mold Removal
Well,
store?
because Betty isn't any good. That's
And
why.
she's into fashion, and Mike's not. He's into
No,
mold
but
removal.
why should someone choose your company over the others out there?
Experience, timing, and from
Good
beginning
guy.
to end, we're done. 3 days. Our average
Which is
job
incredible. It
3
really
days.
is.
Yeah, but nobody does what we do at the time, in the time that we do it. So, usmold.com, 561-748-2223.
Check his website out, too. You got a great website.
There's fungus among us.
Love
Wow.
it.
Thanks again for Mike's going to be all with us
Next month.
Unbelievable.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Mike.
We're going to go to break, and we come back. It's roof repair time.
Global Roofing in the house.
Absolutely. We will be right back.
U.S. Mold are the area's mold and water damage experts, dedicated to removing and preventing further dangers of mold. It's important to keep your family and pets safe from the effects of mold building up in your home, and mold in your workplace is another point of concern. Damp areas, water leaks, excessive coughing, mildew, and musty odors are all signs of possible mold infestation. Don't delay. Call the professionals at U.S. Mold and rest easy knowing that your indoor air will be fit to breathe again. U.S. Mold offers the most comprehensive mold inspection, mold testing, mold removal, odor removal, and flood damage restoration services in South Florida, serving the Palm Beaches, Boca Raton, Delray Beach, Jupiter, Stewart, and surrounding areas. U.S. Mold has the knowledge and experience to effectively restore the indoor air quality of any size building, and they do so in an efficient, professional, and friendly way. Call U.S. Mold today.